Fredrica. How are you doing?
I am outstanding, Jacob. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Listen, thank you very much for being here with me. And
Thank you.
let me have you tell the audience a little bit about yourself. First, by giving your name and your business and so forth.
Okay. Well, excellent morning, everyone. I am Fredrica Cunegin. I am the founder and chief executive officer of HRinMotion, LLC. And it is really a pleasure to have this time to engage with Jacob, and he'll tell you how we connected and to be able to share information with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, full disclosure, since you mentioned connected, we attended McKinley High School together. Yeah, we attended McKinley High School together. Came out in da 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 da. Anyway, came out in 1978. I'm not ashamed to say it. I've been
And
blessed just to be around, to still be
absolutely.
around. But speaking of education, why don't you give us a little bit of background about yourself in terms of your education? And you can start with high school and the college credentials and so forth.
Okay, excellent. Well, McKinley Tech was and still is an amazing educational institution. And at the time that Jacob and I walked through those amazing halls of change, we were successfully graduated from McKinley Tech in 1978. From there, I obtained my undergraduate and graduate degree from the University of Maryland. At the time, it was University College, now as Global Campus. But my undergraduate degree is in psych, and my master's degree is in management with a concentration in human resource management. And I am pleased to have had that experience and still maintaining a level of education and experience to stay abreast with the industry in which I love.
Okay, could you tell us, give us a little bit more detail in terms of what you do in terms of HR management?
Thank you. So, human resource management services, what do we do? We partner with chief executive officers, and the purpose for that is to help CEOs. We give attention in the small community, but small is not according to size. There is actually a definition that gives credence to small according to SBA. But we assist chief executive officers in the small community to ensure that the function of human resources is properly utilized. And why is that important? Because human resource management, its function is to connect with humanity. And when that strength is also at the table where decisions are made, it's going to intentionally, purposefully strengthen the culture of every organization. A chief executive officer and the executive team and mid management cannot be as successful without the structure, policies, procedures, insightfulness, engagement, being relevant today in the marketplace. The employers of today, the employment structure of today is totally different than I could say 20 or 10 years ago, but I don't have to go that far back. We can go as far back as 4 years ago after the pandemic presented itself across the world. We have changed. The marketplace has changed. And business owners, government leaders are still working to bring about what was before March 2020. But because the change is in place, it is extremely important that the structure from an HR management perspective, that it aligns with the vision, the mission, the core values of organizations. Not only that, that it aligns with engagement so that the culture of an organization aligns with the employees, that employers need to know, how should I move forward in today's climate to make sure that not only am I filling positions, but I'm hiring the individuals that aligns with what we need and how we need to grow and expand in today's market. It's totally different, Jacob, than when
Mm.
you and I started in our professions many, many years ago. and
Right.
it's even more different than the generations before us. And so if we are working to engage with the marketplace the way that personnel started back in the late 30s, it would never work. First of all, human resources has its own flavor, structure, and it's a discipline today. It was not the case when personnel was the way that human resources was identified. But today, there's a full structure, layout, educational perspectives from an HR perspective that makes this function of every organization work successfully if the individuals who are at the helm understand the value.
Hmm. Okay, very good. Let me ask you this. What made you decide to go into human resources? Did you have a desire to go into something else before that?
You know what, Jacob? It's a part of my lineage.
Mhm.
I come from, my parents were pastors. My grandparents were ministry leaders. My grandmother was a pastor. My paternal grandmother was a pastor. So I come from a lineage where humanity is the focus. I am a servant leader, and I received that experience from my parents. My daughter, who is fourth generation pastor, she says it this way, that I did not do this on my own. I am standing on the shoulders of those who've gone before me. And so my parents taught me the value of humanity and what it means to be a servant leader, to engage individuals in a way that speaks to them to be successful wherever that may be. So, human resource management is a platform that allows me to really flourish from a legacy perspective, to engage with men and women of all races, denominations, experiences, lifestyles. Because believe it or not, Jacob,
Hmm.
people in general, we all need the same thing. We need love, we need respect, we need a platform where there is a presence, where growth and sustainability is possible. So it's from my heritage that I became a professional that engages with mankind.
Uh, what are some of the services that your group offers?
That's a great question. You know, Jacob, when I first started in business, a little over 18 years ago, I would have a laundry list to that question.
Hmm.
The motive at that time was to convince the person that I'm engaged with that I was the right person for the job.
Right.
Well, we provide HR management services, and we provide services to support our clientele to be prepared for the individuals that have been assigned to them. And so we first start by having a conversation. I refer to it as a discovery conversation with the decision maker, the chief executive officer, and executive leaders. We start that conversation to have an understanding, what is it that the organization is looking for and needs from an HR perspective. We also want to make sure that the business owners and the leaders understands the value of human resources and its purpose. That makes a major difference to how we can join forces with the leader, is based on what the leader's perspective is of HR
Mhm.
management services and the leader's need. And once we have insight of where the leader is, which in many instances, Jacob, leaders, when they get to the level of connecting with consultancy like HRinMotion, they're clear that they have gone as far as they can go based on their level of understanding, and those that are in their community that may be supporting them, they're clear that they've gone as far as they can go, and it's time to make the investment to bring in the expert to sit at that table with them. And so we start with a dialogue as best possible. And I just find it that way because there's so many components that leaders as yourself are contending with on a day-to-day basis. And so we can give the 30,000 foot level response, But once you're inside of the organization and you get to be a part of that day-to-day experience, you get to unfold other aspects of human resource management that is on the table but not really dealt with, to show the individuals who you've decided to partner with the value that they have decided to invest by bringing you to the table. So there are some traditional platforms that are absolutely necessary initially, and that is making sure that you have an orientation presentation. You want to make sure that people understand the value of your investment as a business owner, what it has taken you to do to get to the place that you are now hiring people,
Mm.
what it took to get to that place, and what it takes to maintain that place and beyond. And that's a formal introduction of your vision, a formal introduction of your history, and a formal introduction of what's expected of individuals who becomes a part of your team.
What do you feel what do you feel are some of the difficulties in terms of what you do in terms of HR? What do you feel are some of the difficulties that you
That's a
have to
great
contend
question.
with?
That's a great question, Jacob. So I alluded to it moments ago when I talked about the differences in today's market versus the market that you and I started in and in times past. One of the major challenges today is recruiting.
Mhm.
Recruitment is different today because we have hybrid schedules or we have 100% remote schedules. And so there are those employers that really would like for people to be back in the office. Hybrid schedules right now seems to be an acceptable process, but there are many employers, including the federal government, having those conversations about when will we be back in the building. So recruitment is one of those challenges. Another challenge is generational differences. There are 4 to 5 generations that are still in the market. Now, this is my take on the generational differences. Every generation is necessary, everyone. Our generation, Jacob, we're the generation that has the wisdom. We have knowledge about our respective professions that's not documented. And then there's the generation today that knows technology like we breathe. So there's the wise side of the house and there's the technological side of the house. And both sides need each other. Because if in fact the person that's in the room that has the many, many years of experience and everybody goes to that person, and that person leaves without that document, those processes and systems not being documented, so many gaps will show up once that person is no longer working with that organization. So both sides are necessary. So there's recruitment, generational differences, and then being able to keep up with technology. Everybody's got to keep up with technology. AI isn't going anywhere. Chat GPT is not going anywhere. So we have to be able to keep up and be willing to keep up and be responsible investing in ourselves to be knowledgeable and being able to keep up.
What type of difficulties did you have breaking into the field?
Actually, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Uh, I didn't. I started in this space as an administrator at that time at my father's church. When I left my father's church, I went to Doctor's Hospital, and I went to Doctor's Hospital for a short stay as an executive assistant to the vice president of nursing. At that time, I was in school. When I knew it was time for me to leave, I said to her, I'm really interested. I said, I know it's time for me to start looking. And she said, what are you looking for? I told her I wanted to become an HR generalist. And because of my connection with her and my success in serving her, she is the connection for me that I became a generalist at that hospital. And I went from that hospital to Prince George's Hospital Center to Washington Hospital Center to my own company.
Any final words you'd like to give to the viewing audience?
So, first of all, Jacob, again, thank you for this opportunity. And to the viewing audience, listen, this is one of the most rewarding professions, and any profession, in my opinion, when you are helping people to get from point A to point B, success is attached to that. And so, if you are an HR practitioner, congratulations on your success. Be the best version of yourself and beyond. And for those of you who are engaged with human resource practitioners, know that they're there to assist you in becoming your dreams, goals, and aspirations as a profession. And I look forward, hopefully, another opportunity where we can actually connect with each other to talk more about this profession of helping people go from point A to point B successfully.
Very good. Thank you very much. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
you
Jacob.
spending some time with us on Jakesong Musings. I look forward to talking to you again as well.
Absolutely. Thank
Okay.
you, Jacob.
All right.